All right, we're back. We're back. 10 o'clock, or a little before 10 o'clock. Because C-Sweetener starts at 11, and they're going to kick us out. Again, because Melissa commandeered the art gallery by being really, really nice to people who matter, i.e. the security guard. Yeah. Melissa always gets the job done, so we're grateful for her. It's too bad you guys can't see her. She looks super cute today, and she doesn't look hungover at all.
No.
So yeah,
which is weird.
So yeah, she can't even talk. You can't. She's all. She can't talk to us. But so we have two special guests to start us out. They are. We actually had Pooja on our show on Friday to preview these guys, David and Laurent from Hlth. Okay, awesome. Investors from Europe, where sometimes they let us in. It's going to be really annoying. Hold on. Listen, I'll just tell you, is it on the right one? Okay. So here's the deal. This is a hallmark of our show. This is why we're wildly popular. It's very raw. Start over.
Can't remember what the question was now. Okay, back to introducing myself. So yes, here we go. Take two. I'm David Buller, one of the partners of Hlth. So I've done a journey in my career from digital health entrepreneur, a company I sold. We were doing robotic drug dispensing systems in hospitals, and then moved into a world of VC and startup investment, starting in Silicon Valley, and then starting a digital health fund in London, and then more recently the Hlth fund, a digital health fund based in Luxembourg, Paris, with Laurent here.
Very cool.
Yes, and my turn. So Laurent Van Laberg, based in Paris, Belgium, as you may guess from my name. I've been 25 years in Big Corp, pharma, before consulting, and then pharma, 10 years Abbott, Chicago-based pharma company. And with Abbott, I've been in Paris, Copenhagen, Chicago, Singapore, so really around the globe, growing businesses. Then a bit less than 10 years with Sanofi, last 3 years as a chief strategy officer, working on R&D pipeline and digital health investment. Now, investor for a bit less than 2 years, left Sanofi December 22, started investing as business angel in digital health. But the big enterprise is Hlth, the fund, European growth stage, digital health, really covering different countries. We are not like Franco-French or Belgo-Belgium or Anglo-English, really addressing the whole continent.
Awesome. So what made you guys think this was a good idea?
Here
No, I mean all of the above. But why did you come to Vegas? But no, really, like why the fun? Like why did you decide to do this together?
Yeah, well, it was interesting timing actually that I had just finished deploying my first fund in London, which was also a digital health fund, but we were very UK focused.
Did you win?
Ask me, everything's doing well so far. We have a portfolio of 17 companies. One has recently exited to Eli Lilly. So watch this space. Ask me again next year. I'll give you an update on the portfolio. But everything is looking good so far.
Wonderful. So yeah, like what do you guys just like?
Yes, I mean obviously there is a need and an opportunity. I mean the need is that it's a bit the death valley, the growth stage in Europe for digital health companies. When companies need to raise above 8 million euro up to 50, which is before they become candidate for buyout, there are very, very few funds that can actually finance them. So either they stagnate or they fall in the hands of Asian shareholders, or they have to search for US, which is a lot more difficult for them. So there is a need. Also, there are a lot more companies now than it used to be. We did a huge deep dive that we're actually quite proud of across Europe. 3,000 digital health companies that we spotted, 1,000 in our segment. So there is actually a big potential for value creation. And then the opportunity, look, there are obviously many funds in Europe, in biotech, in healthcare, but funds, as I say, digital health, one, not so many, and two, the profile that we have, healthcare, business builders, and investor, it's something that really adds to the space where most people are finance people or tech people. And it's always good in the investor space because it's not just about money, it's helping these companies to grow. We bring something quite unique.
Yeah. And so, I mean, this is a quick one here. Why do you, I mean, I know there's some structural differences, but why do you think there's such a gap? Because you have a lot of different types of folks who are funding early stage health tech companies here in the US, and there's this gap in Europe generally.
Yeah.
For the, I mean, particularly with the growth stage funding gap. I mean, I think, well, I always think there's two reasons behind this. One is just the whole startup venture investment ecosystem is just huge in the US, which just means that there's more activity, there's more funds, and that's just one thing, and that goes all the way through from venture through to PE to IPO. And then the other side is down to the fact that just the ability to scale in the US is just, so much easier. You've got, one country to scale across. So, if you take a similar digital health company in Europe to scale to that size, that you've got to go across the borders of 27 countries and different languages, different healthcare systems, whereas here it's just so much easier to scale. So, I mean, and this is one of the reasons why we're here, because our portfolio companies are almost inevitably going to scale into the US and want to come and land and expand here. So it's important for us to be embedded with the ecosystem here, so they've got a route to expand and scale a company.
Yeah, the one more thing, actually, when you say that, you say, David Laurent, nice idea, but then what about reality? And the reality is that you get actually now companies who are actually reaching this inflection point, who are really getting this success because people want to invest in growth stage and expect that 5 years plus minus after they get the big inflection. And you can go, I mean, if you read the press, I mean, you have a few really striking cases of companies 3-4 years ago, they were selling 2 to 3 million. Suddenly they got the inflection past the 5, 7, 10 million. And then from being just a growth stage company, they become sold to buyout funds, And you go through Europe. I mean, there was one in Belgium, and yes, I have to mention it, given where I come from. Clue Points got bought by EQT. Exactly. There's a bit of flag if you can see exactly. Bought by EQT for 600 million. So you can see that this is really becoming real there. There is value creation. Actually, valuation are also lower than what you can see now. So that's a bit of a plus.
Yeah, I think that's what we heard recently, is just that there is there's potentially a greater chance for value due to sort of the lower cost basis, and a lot of many still undervalued and relatively small digital health and health tech companies. Yeah.
So is there a particular category of digital health that you're looking at?
Yes, well, we have, because I mean, digital health can be pretty broad. So So we've defined it as digital health with therapeutic content. But what that means, we've got three sort of pillars that we look for in our investment segments. One is R&D, which is essentially drug discovery, and within that, AI drug discovery and digitized clinical trials. And then we have a section under patient care, which is acute care and chronic care and aging care. And then a section under diagnostics, where we're looking for AI imaging, AI diagnostics. So that's very specifically what we're looking for.
Okay. And anything to add?
To add, because you could say, where are your hotspot? If you think about the deals you would make, the next 3 months or the following 3 months. I mean, AI imaging, we quite like these ones. Everybody would think about cancer, but if you look at CNS, neuro, I mean, you have a lot of good innovation and technology is proven. And actually, pharma companies who are about to launch Alzheimer drug, Parkinson drug, they need this monitoring a lot more. So that's an area pretty strong. Tech bio or AI in drug discovery, that's obviously one that is pulled very heavily from pharma and CROs. And then, of course, digitized clinical trial. There is a lot happening, but I would say also don't forget the boring segments, which are maybe some elements of quality assurance and so on, where a lot is happening.
Yeah, we have a lot of boring stuff over in the US, right? Just because revenue cycle. Our revenue cycle is like 1/5 of the U.S.
Probably half of that whole expo hall is like AI
Yeah,
revenue cycle.
yeah, like 1/5 of the U.S. economy
Certainly half
is
of the
is
gaming
healthcare,
expo
right?
is-
It's yeah, which is
revenue cycle.
yeah. So that's
AI
what.
revenue cycle.
Yeah, there's a lot of like AI for revenue cycle, AI for back office, blah 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 blah. Like, are you guys down with that, or is it so different in Europe, just the way things are set up, that it's easier to focus on the clinical stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly different payer, insurer, provider setup. That's for sure. So it's more. I wouldn't say it's sort of. It's just totally different, and therefore, but it's more. You have to look at how it is in each individual country, and then work towards that. So, but also we're probably not so much. We're either looking for stuff in the kind of R&D or in the kind of clinical, as opposed to the hospital services, operational, and such like. So. So we're not doing so much in that space. I mean, my last company was doing the boring stuff as well, and we were doing the inventory management of medicines and supplies that no one ever thinks is a problem, but actually is the second largest expense for any hospital. So it's important areas to tackle.
Yeah, it's in fact we made a choice. So it's not that one is better than the other. We said where can we add most value. And the reason why we took digital health with therapeutic content is with my background in pharma and building businesses and David's background, we think that's where we can add the most value versus software. I mean, I have a good business relations who are in a fund who will just do software in digital health. So I think this segment it's where we add value, and when you enter a space, I mean, you have to focus on where you can make a difference.
Yeah, right on. So as Europeans, we'll fudge it there and call you European as well. You probably have had a fair amount of exposure to the U.S. healthcare system at this point. What is the weirdest, most troubling thing you've learned about the U.S. healthcare system?
Also dumbest.
Dumbest, also. Yeah.
Wow. Where to start? Well, I know people normally ask me this about the UK healthcare system and the challenges selling into the NHS. That I mean, I guess the whole thing. I mean, coming from the UK and just looking at the cost of healthcare is the craziest thing here. I mean, from the NHS in the UK, everything is free at the point of care, and then just seeing the kind of astronomical costs here, and then the people that don't get access to healthcare. I mean, that's probably got to be the craziest thing. And then even I was talking to some people the other day about where you have this in-network care plan, but you can't get any appointments for weeks, months, and so even though it's astronomically expensive, you still can't get access to care. So that's my couple of observations so far.
Yeah, and maybe a few more there that are interesting is the degree and speed of innovation. Despite all of these inefficiencies, COVID was a good example. I mean, I would say things were pushed, and of course, the European would say one company CEO was a French guy, another one was a European innovation. Yes, maybe, and probably true, but just making it to the market, obviously a big acceleration. And COVID is maybe a very visible, but you see a lot of innovation, including people spot inefficiencies. They see a business, they go there, something is happening. Okay, so innovation, opportunity, jumping on it is really quite something that we can learn from, or sometimes some people envy. So that's one thing. Yeah, that's a positive. But when you look at it from Europe, it's like, oh wow! I mean, we want to do that too. I mean, and the scale and the push and yes, Europe has put in place some of the mechanism that you were very good to do. But it's really action oriented. That's what is really quite amazing in the US. I think that the second element is all these inefficiencies in the system. And I would say sometimes, despite the innovation, it's a little bit perpetuating the system that is inefficient. So I think this one, you probably have a lot that you can cut and maybe use somewhere else, cost-wise.
I'm ready to maximize value.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have to switch over to our next guest, which is apparently we asked Stefan to come on to talk about Cancer X, and there's 20 people coming on. So y'all are great. And we'll see you in Barcelona, it sounds like, with Pooja. And yeah, she's coming.
Come by Paris, or
yeah, we'll
listen.
We'll go all the places. Yeah. But thank y'all. Yeah, I do. Although I am not a dual citizen. I believe in my country. All right. Hey, thanks, y'all.
All right. A whole clown car is about to
Yeah,
roll
we
up
have the
here.
clown car. The Cancer X clown car is coming.
Rolling in.
Here they are, all of
Live-
them.
Live show, y'all. Live show.
Yeah, this is a
We're
live
still
show.
live.
It is
We're still
live. We do not know how to edit. Kamal, are you coming on the show? I think
Just gotta jump right in.
Melissa, can he fit in the screen there? Okay, Kamal
Oh, we have
too.
one more, Melissa.
Melissa, turn around.
Melissa, we got one more. Live show. Show's still live.
The clown car's here. All right,
Clown car's
so we asked Stefan to come on the show, and he brought all of his friends to talk about Cancer X. So we hear that you guys launched the round 2 accelerator or year 2 accelerator. So all 40 of you,
And
please introduce.
You all have to use one mic that we
This
have.
is a budget operation. We have one mic, so we're gonna.
good luck.
So stop
Yes,
it.
you all go do your makeup.
Yeah. So each of you, please introduce yourselves.
Nanish Parikh. I'm from Moffitt Cancer Center, the Assistant Chief Medical Officer and the Steering Committee Chair for Cancer X Accelerator.
Nandita Kotwani. We're partnering with Cancer X this year. I lead business development and community efforts for Kids X. We're very excited to partner with Cancer X.
And Stefan Kanya, Senior Advisor and Innovation Portfolio Lead and the Government Rep on Cancer X.
Kamal Jathwani. I'm the VP of Digital Ventures at Moffitt Cancer Center, and my team is leading the operations for Cancer X.
Pass it all the way back.
Just gotta keep it moving.
Okay, so what's the story? So tell us year 1 of the accelerator. Lisa and I obviously watched very closely, and we interviewed many of the companies that were in the. Well, like, I mean, some of them. I'm an LP in oncology ventures, so I obviously like the ones that are also portfolio companies. But what was your favorite company?
Oh, I don't think I'm at liberty to say. That's a tough one. I'm gonna.
Are they
All of
your
them.
favorite?
I'll
Okay,
just leave it
are they
simple.
all
All of them.
Okay. All right. Well, ask these guys a question.
Oh, I mean, like so.
But
I know
clearly
you.
not
I know
gonna
you.
go
I know
crazy,
you
so.
had an event. Like, tell me why you're here. It's kind of to roll out year 2. Like, tell us about where you are, what you did here, why health. Besides, Stefan likes to travel. Tell us more. Stefan loves government rate hotels.
Me? You? Want me to go? Okay. So we had a very successful year 1, as you know. We
That's
love
what I hear.
all of the companies. Hopefully the companies felt the same
I have
way.
favorites.
We got support from our partners at the federal government. And so once we had the support and it was clear that we were going to run hard at this, we decided to announce yesterday that we opened up applications for the next cohort. And we had these little cards that we passed out, and we can't wait. You know, we clarified our themes with help from all of our partners, Kids X, MSKCC, and several others. We figured out what 3 themes we're going to focus on. Don't ask me because we just put them up.
Do you remember? Does
But
someone remember?
I remember
I feel
clinical
like
trial
one of your notes
acceleration.
says, one
but-
of you.
But the last thing I'll say, and then I'll pass it down, is, you know, we can't wait to have an even bigger group who contributed to even the definition of the themes and really all the programming to now put everybody through.
Nice. Okay, more on the themes. What you're looking for.
Yeah. So our 3 themes, again, this was after days of workshop with all of our champion members, which was really exciting. Our 3 themes are, the first one is equitable care for all. So how do we provide that, and what companies are going to support that? The second one is accelerating clinical trials, because it's really important, not just as a treatment option, but also in developing new therapies and getting that out of the market quickly. And the third one is moving the locus of care to a more patient-centric way to the home. So can we please meet the patient where they're at versus having the patient come to where we want them to come? So companies in these 3 areas will be accelerated. We're also very excited, in addition to what Nanesh said, last year we had 16 companies. We had 11 definitive contracts signed. We had $42 million in funding raised in a short 4 months. We had 3 pilots completed, not just signed, within the 4 months of the accelerator. And in order to keep up with the growth that our companies were seeing, they hired an additional 200 people in the short duration of 4 months. Yes, 200. Value creation, job creation. These are 200 additional people that we have now recruited to the mission of beating cancer's ass, if I can say that on your show.
Oh, you can.
Yeah. And and then the last thing I'll say is, last year we had 10 champions total, but 2 health systems that led a lot of the pilots, Moffitt Cancer Center and Atrium Advocate, and both went really aggressively on getting pilots. We had 2 venture capital companies, WO Farm and Oncology Ventures, again, went really hard. They took a lot of companies through IC and, mentored them. And then we had a lot of technology help with Dell, Intel, others, Reveal Health Tech. This year, we have all of them, but we also added 2 additional health centers. So we have Dana-Farber Cancer Center, which is one of the biggest in Boston area, and you know that. And then the other one is MSK. So that is really exciting. So the fact that our impact on the health system side and pilot side can double is really exciting. And then we're really, really excited. I want to pass the mic on over to our KidsX colleague here, Nandita. But we're partnering with KidsX and we're reserving 2 seats in our 15-seat cohort for companies that are focused on pediatric oncology. So that focus now helps us actually go and make a difference in there. And Nandita, I'd love to hear from you why you guys decided to join.
Yeah, we'll take over now. Yeah, I mean, I actually started my career in pediatric oncology at Sloan Kettering, so this is very near and dear to my heart. And I think I would see the kids firsthand. Someone was talking yesterday about milestones, and that's really like the important markers for kids. And I think going through cancer really can interfere with those milestones. And so this type of innovation is so important for kids, especially with the focus areas that we have to just keep their life going while they're getting treatment. So we are very excited. We already have 7 of our member hospitals interested, and that was in the first interest email that went out. So we have a consortium of about 30 pediatric hospitals, and I'm sure there'll be much more interest to come. So we're very excited.
You got it.
Looks like we have a new guest joining Friends of Stefan. So let's pass it all the way back down there.
This one might be an important.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear he's very important.
All right.
He's an important one for us, so I'm going to let him take it away.
Apologies for being a few minutes late. Thank you for the invitation. So I'm Xavier Avat, the CBO for Moffitt, and looking forward to this panel.
And the executive sponsor for Moffitt for CancerX.
Awesome. So I have a question. The last couple of years, there's been a focus on bringing health equity into various policies. At the same time, the backlash was almost immediate in terms of funding and programs, right? Like, oh, you're just focusing on equity and whatever. And, it's very people politicizing the term, politicizing the concept. We are, as all of us know, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. I don't even know anymore, actually. Soon, we're about to have an election, and there will be,
It started.
I've actually already voted. And when those things happen, there is a change in tone. There's a change in priorities, a change in the way we talk about it. My understanding, and you guys are much more of experts than I am, that a lot of the problems in cancer care in the US, we were just talking with our last guests who were European about this, is that we have incredible, super fast, like faster than everyone else in the world, innovation, and then it doesn't get to the people who need it, like kids or people who don't have a lot of money, people on Medicaid, whatever else, right? So how are you thinking about your equity priorities around CancerX with this potential, probably real sort of external threat to change those priorities and change that funding and change that investment? How do you think about that going forward? Because you're about to be there.
We should ask our federal employee that question.
Him first.
Well, I can say our agency did put out a health equity by design concept paper. It's on our website at healthit.gov. You can read that. And we actually take that very serious. We put that into everything we're working on, and that included CancerX. So in the early days when we were coming up with the framework for CancerX and the partnership that was going to be, emphatically, and of course, Moffitt and all of our partners were also on the same page, emphatically making sure that equity is at the center of everything we designed. When we did the accelerator launch, for example, we made sure that we were doing anti-bias training for the judges and the reviewers who were looking at the applications to make sure everybody had a fair shot of even getting into the program. We actually asked all the startups who were applying, not just the ones who got in, but last year we had 130 or so, 134 startups that applied. Every single one of those startups had to answer a question about how are they designing their solution to meet the unique needs of certain populations and communities. How are they making sure that it was equitable for those different populations? So even if they weren't already working on it, we're nudging them to think about it, right? And maybe if they didn't get in, they wonder, is that the reason why? Because they weren't doing enough there. And then throughout the entire program, we had a lot of curriculum that was helping to kind of educate about all of that work as well. And in this year, as Kamal mentioned, one of our sourcing areas is, what's the exact title again? Equitable Care for All. So it's like literally one of the, I forget the exact tagline, but one of the exact sourcing areas is focused on equitable care for all. And it's kind of an underlying theme in everything that we do. But you'll see that being like a constant in everything that we do with CancerX for sure.
Yeah. So, I think the anti-bias training that Stefan talked about last time was really important, but what was the result of that, right? And we strongly believe that representation matters. So if you're going to deliver solutions equitably, you want to make sure that people developing them are conscious of those and represent the same populations. So really proud of the fact that we had 12 out of our 16 companies were founded by BIPOC founders. 50% of our founders were women, and 50% of our founders were first-time founders. So we're equalizing the playing field, and we're giving them opportunities that otherwise would have been harder for these founders, which we traditionally know are really hard for these founders to find investments, pilots, and interest. So, we're not just doing it, we're not just putting process in place, we actually saw an outcome of it.
So CancerX is more than an accelerator, right? I know the big exciting thing is we're launching that year 2. Super great. But tell us about what are the other things going on?
I'll just add before we move off of the accelerator, I do want to make a quick plug. I forgot, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. So quick plug, because we want to make sure we get out there. If you go to cancerx.health to the website, you can apply now. The application's live. But also, it's not just for startups. If you're a mentor and you want to join our database of mentors, I forget how many mentors we have now, 180, 134 mentors are in the database already. You can view all those 134, even if you're not in the program. Like, you just go to the website and see who they are, get contact information, not their email or phone through the website, but you can go to their social media and so on. But we're looking for more mentors. So if there's experts that want to work with these companies and help mentor them, we do mentor matching. And so they can, apply to be a mentor and get their name in there. And then I don't think we've closed the door completely on other champions. If there's somebody who wants to help support the companies in other ways, when we're still onboarding, I think there's another actual health system that's very close to being or two. It might be two more on top of the 4 that I've already announced. So we're still onboarding a few new champions as well. I'll turn it back. Sorry.
So what you're saying is you will take more money at any time.
Money, but about the expertise. It's really more about the expertise and the contributions. So I mean,
yeah, I was wondering what this was about.
It's a blush.
It's a blush. Or is it a brush to go paint, since we are in this art gallery here? I just wanted to come back on the point you made earlier about the election. Cancer should be apolitical. I mean, it's touching everybody across the aisles. And I have to say, most of the time in history, and still to these days, I think we were seeing that everybody is kind of rallying to the challenge, because it really is a challenge at the societal level. Right now, we're spending 20% of GDP on healthcare. You touch on health equity or access to care. This is just not sustainable. The trajectory we're on, the spend we have, given the outcomes we have, it's just not sustainable. We're in a country where we have the best system next to the worst system, given the environment. I believe that a conference like this one, Hlth and others, but certainly digital in general and AI, are opportunities to change the odds. The scalability, the standardization, the sustainability that we can bring to the treatment of cancer with these tools is really a unique opportunity. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of alignment. It's going to take a lot of maybe regulatory frameworks from the government. This is really our opportunity. So I really want us to make sure we size it. And CancerX is one way, an important way to get us there.
Now you know why he's our CBO.
Sure. The boss is here. Yeah. So what else other than the accelerator is going on? Like, what other initiatives you guys working on? What are you excited about?
Yeah. So we think about innovation and sort of thinking about the moonshot. That's what CancerX is all about, right? How do we think 10 years ahead, and how do we create the future here? We think of that as a group sport, a communal sport, right? Which means that community becomes one of the biggest assets. So we did a really, really good job in the last 18 months building a community, right? But the community was built ad hoc, and we said, everyone, all of you, come in, we'll figure it out. in year 2, we're starting to get very interested and strategic about what is the impact that our community can have, and how do we now purposefully build the right community in the right direction. Again, open for all, always big tent, but also like how do we make sure that we're bringing the right partners for the right purposes. I think that's becoming really important. The second thing is we're going through a strategic exercise right now to really start to think about how can the different parts of our ecosystem play the role that they're supposed to play and bring these pieces together. So health systems working together to somehow figure out some of the common problems they're facing. The pharma companies working together. Now health systems and pharma then interacting to sort of solve problems that are common between those two, right? So really purposefully creating the groups, and then the interactions between the groups is where the value is going to be created. We want these groups and these group interactions to create ideas for pilot projects and demonstration projects, and then we want to be able to fund demonstration projects because we want to create guidelines for the future. Here is how care can be delivered that has never been delivered before. We have now proven it. We have actually, invested in it, and now this should become the standard for everyone else in the country to follow. So that is really what I want CancerX to become in the next 5 years, and I think we're starting on that journey today.
All right. Oh, are we getting the hook? Wait.
Oh, more of our friends.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Come on in, and
More
then you have
more of our
exactly
friends
30
to.
seconds each to tell us
Hi.
stuff.
All right.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
oh.
Good Lord. Here we go.
We have people leaving. People coming.
Okay. All right. Prasu, why are you here? Why are you so late?
So what's really interesting is the reason I was late was, well, no, I was watching the CEO of J&J, Joaquin Duato, on the main stage, and he was talking about the importance of the cancer moonshot and the importance of ecosystems coming together to solve for some of the biggest challenges that exist in healthcare.
So you're saying you actually went to the conference?
Got it.
It was also my first time at the main stage. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us something about CancerX. What
Yeah.
are you excited about?
Yeah. So, as part of the founding steering committee, we have a big belief that this really is an opportunity for us to elevate the work that we're doing across the industry. And cancer really is bigger than any one of us, right? We think about the journeys that our loved ones have taken. I was talking last night at our CancerX get-together that my own sister-in-law had a really aggressive form of breast cancer. And fortunately, she survived to a point where she had given birth to her first daughter, and she had frozen her embryos and all of that. And then she gave birth to her second as well after. So, full recovery. And it's just really remarkable to think about how none of that could have been possible had it not been for science and evidence-based guidelines and clinical best practices and the work that we're all doing as a community. Companies like J&J, health systems, all of us, startups, data companies. And that's the mission that we're on right now. So really, as part of the steering committee, I couldn't be more excited about this transformational leap forward, this opportunity that we have in CancerX to really take it to the next level forward. So super excited about that. Yeah.
All right. Close out. Who's closing out and telling us how we can learn more about CancerX? You already did.
Yeah, I think I already said it. CancerX.health. CancerX.health. Yeah, just go there, especially for the startup applications, to sign up to be a mentor, to apply. It's only 3 to 4 weeks for applications. So anybody who's trying to apply to be a startup in the cohort, get your applications in today. Actually, I heard a few startups at our event last night said they completed their application while they were at the reception from their phone. So it must be a pretty streamlined process. But seriously, make sure we're spreading the word. If you yourself are not a startup, but you know people who are entrepreneurs who are working in this space or might be a good fit, please share the word with them ASAP.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There we go.
This is a lot of passion.
There's a lot of passion here.
So definitely check out
And
their
a
work.
lot of people.
A lot of people, a lot of
people,
passion.
a lot of
We love
passion.
it.
All right.
If I could say
one
last thing.
one last thing.
yeah.
Always.
But wait.
Thank you to Insana as well.
Thank you.
Our friends at Insana were the first impact sponsor, supporting CancerX from the very beginning. So thank you for that. Yeah, exactly. Well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you
We
all.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, good
All
luck
right.
in year 2. Startups.
Good luck in year 2.
Yeah,
Join
there
them.
you go.
Thanks, everyone. All right. Switching it out.
All right.
Live show. Now we have
we're
one
back to the normal
guest.
format
This
here.
is normal.
Melissa, will you
Oh, Melissa.
do you not want to be close to us?
Oh.
She's just in the middle.
Okay. Well, this is the thing. We have one mic. So we have Dr. Colin, is it Banas? Banas, from Dr. First here. So he's like a medical doctor from what we understand. Would you introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning, Colin Vanis. I'm an internal medicine physician and chief medical officer for Dr. First.
Yeah. This is fun for me because I used to work at Practice Fusion back in the day.
Okay.
So this unpaid job that we have has allowed me
she was
to
not involved
yeah,
in this.
was not involved. Was
as
not
far as
involved.
we know.
This has allowed me to interact with many of our way long ago competitors back in the day when Dr. First and Practice Fusion were in the competitive space.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So you still doctoring?
A little tiny bit, but not nearly as much as I used to.
Okay.
So why did you join a health tech startup? Do you love pain?
It's interesting. So for 20 years, I was actually the CMIO for an academic health system.
You do like pain?
I do. So I was a practicing hospitalist, and I was running a large center instance at an academic health system in Richmond, Virginia. So I started to love informatics, and when that part of my career was, winding down, I said, "What's next?" And so I joined the vendor side, the tech side, and it's actually funny. Dr. First is actually a 26-year-old company.
It is, yeah.
It's like an industry secret. We've been around for a very, very long time, doing e-prescribing before e-prescribing was even a thing. So back in the year 2000. Our founder and CEO at the time wanted to be the very first company in the new millennium. So at midnight of January 1st,
That's so cute.
he founded Dr. First.
That's so cute.
That is very cute and very dramatic, and the kind of bullshit we are into.
Yeah, we like it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
Very dramatic.
So listen, what are you doing at health?
A little bit of everything. It's a lot of meetings. So this is one of those rare places where you can get a broad swath of the industry. And Dr. First has a little piece of a lot of different parts of the industry. And so this is a really great place to coordinate those meetings. I would like to say I'm attending the sessions and learning a lot, but
Rasu was the only one.
it's crazy. It's so many meetings, but it's good. And then there's these impromptu meetings. There's these vendor booths. There's these new startups that I've never heard of before. I'm learning a lot. And so this is becoming a must stop on the circuit every year now.
Yeah. So what are all of those little things that Dr. First covers now? Like, talk more about that.
Yeah, I like this. So I told you we started as an e-prescribing company. From there, it has blossomed into what I would call intelligent medication management. So anything that you can think of end to end related to prescriptions, adherence, medication safety, Dr. First has a piece of that. And so if you envision the patient journey, and I know that's a tired phrase, but it actually works in this instance, from the doctor, intaking you and doing something like medication reconciliation, which is crucial, all the way to, I need to write a prescription. Let me show the patient and the physician the price of that prescription. Let me help them through prior auth, which is increasingly frustrating now, all the way to, okay, now the prescription's written. Let's help that patient get on and stay on therapy. And then let's monitor that. So, all along the way, we have relationships with EHRs, with providers, with pharmacies, with drug manufacturers, and with PBMs and payers. And so anywhere in that life cycle of a prescription or of a medication, we have a piece of that. And we're really trying to optimize workflow along all of those steps.
How do you feel about AI?
We're the only company doing
I like this guy.
No, it's we actually Dr. First has been doing AI for actually a decade now. So it is not
Old AI.
It is the older AI, but I like to call it a narrow focused AI. So it is not your LLM, it is not your Chat GPT. It was actually an AI that was created by clinicians for a very singular purpose, and that is around medication safety and reconciliation. So we've been doing that. We've been perfecting that for a decade. I am excited about AI, don't get me wrong. I do think it's getting a little diluted in terms of its phrase. There's not a single booth in here that isn't talking about AI. And you probably could have said that last year too. But I think it's starting to lose some of its efficacy, especially when you're trying to reach folks like on the provider community. But I do think it has great potential to be what I would call a force multiplier in healthcare. So we don't have enough nurses, we don't have enough doctors. How can we remove administrative burden? AI has a piece of that, and we're actually getting really, really good at it. So this is an exciting time. We just need to temper our expectations. And I do think the folks that have really focused on singular use cases rather than trying to solve world hunger are having a lot of success right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the narrow.
So like, you're in e-prescribing land,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of drama going on with like antitrust. Like, what are your thoughts on that? This
Ooh.
is a live unscripted show. We
No,
just need
yeah.
you to.
I don't. You know, what's a good example of some of the antitrust you're thinking of? Is it?
So I mean, e-prescribing is dominated by SureScripts, right?
Oh, so the
Your space in general is,
the pipes, the routing. So what
You're
else?
a partner, right? Like you partner and compete.
We do
right?
like
Co-opetition.
a quarter of the nation's prescriptions are actually running through our software, our pipes in some capacity, but at the time they are also funneling through SureScripts to land at those pharmacies in order to have those prescriptions filled. What I would say is, if anything in the last year has taught us, think of change, think of CrowdStrike. There is a supreme need for redundancy, duality, whatever it is. Being single-threaded in something as crucial as healthcare is no longer acceptable. And so Dr. First is actually working in that space to innovate alternative ways that we can improve the prescription process. And I think it's a really exciting time. It's a really important inflection point.
Yeah. This is another call. Lena Khan, come on our show at any time. What do you think of the First Data Bank guys?
Vila.
Vila.
So we work with FDB. FDB is also a partner of ours for Drug Compendia Drug Database. Vila is another example of someone trying to push the envelope and innovate in that space of e-prescribing.
Yeah.
So if anything, more
the merrier.
it promotes innovation. Competition breeds innovation.
We love competition.
Yeah,
over
but
here.
your point is well taken, though. I think we've seen a lot of examples of just relying on one set of pipes, one system, and it's really concerning. Also, it's concerning because if people think, if innovators say like, oh well, like they have this locked up, so why should we even go there? Then you don't ever move forward because it's really hard as an incumbent and as a really big company that has a huge part of the market to actually go and do new things or build out new innovative ideas.
It's easy to become complacent. It's easy to become complacent. And if you look at the track record of Dr. First, we've actually innovated in this space for many, many decades. First to do real-time price transparency, first to do e-prescribing of controlled substances, first to do that narrow-focused AI for medication reconciliation. So we've got a track record of innovation, and we want to keep pushing that envelope.
We were getting the hot tea from Raihan Farouki up in the HTN breakfast this morning, and he was telling us some spice. But the one thing he said about what good thing has happened in the Biden administration, obviously there's plenty, but the big thing he thought and all of his cool friends thought was pricing transparency. So has all of that impacted your business in a good way, bad way, all the ways?
You're probably referring to the Inflation Reduction Act, and anything that helps our patients get on and stay on therapy is a good thing.
Good move.
So as a provider, I also wholeheartedly agree in this. A patient being able to afford their insulin is a good thing. As a hospitalist, I can't tell you the number of times I saw patients go out the door and come right back in because they could not afford or adhere to their medications. And so, improving pricing and affordability that is one lever we can push. One of the levers that Dr. First likes to push is providing that information face up, not only to the provider, but also to the patient. So we can set expectations. I can have you in front of me and I'm about to write you for a very expensive, statin. And Dr. First screen will say, well, this statin isn't covered, but this one is. This one's $200, this one's $500. I can make decisions then. I can have a conversation. Same thing with, engaging the patient and providing them that same information face up. We do it via text with an app-like experience. Same thing,
But then there also needs to be a connect back to a clinician, either the prescribing clinician or a pharmacist who can also talk about whatever trade-offs might exist between those medications.
That's the other thing you're seeing in this new age of interoperability, which is it's too slow,
Getting a rough start.
It's
New age.
We're trying to make it a new age. Let's make it a new age.
You guys are fun because we have been talking about this since like 2007. But you're starting to see this increased push to fold the care team together, and that care team includes pharmacists. And pharmacists are a great member of the care team because they're filling gaps that otherwise, primary care doctors or other providers aren't able to fill, whether that's vaccines, whether that's during the pandemic and COVID testing, or immunizations, et cetera. So anything that helps bring them into the fold is welcome on all sides.
That's great. This is important because I probably have to get on a statin, so I like all the free medical advice I've been getting throughout this conference from various clinicians, including Dr. Bennis.
So what are you most excited about with Doctor First? Like, what is like the big exciting thing that's happening this year?
One of the things that we made a strategic acquisition earlier this year in what I would call a total benefits solution.
Okay.
And that solution is called MindShift. So we acquired MindShift probably 6 or 7 months ago. It is a solution that allows us to not only engage in the pharmacy benefit side of prescription management, but also the medical benefit side. And a lot of folks don't understand the distinction, but as more and more of these specialty medications are ramping up, being developed, becoming more commonplace, a lot of those infusions, a lot of those specialty drugs are actually covered on the medical benefit side. And that is a blind spot for a lot of clinicians and for a lot of patients as well. And so what this particular platform has the opportunity to do is both, and give you a single pane of glass as a provider, as a payer, to say what is covered, what isn't covered, what's the copay, where are they in their deductible, et cetera. And so we've that particular solution has also married RPA, or robotic process automation, with some of, so think of screen scraping, think of aggregating a lot of these questionnaires or a lot of these requirements for these specialty medications, and starting to fill out a lot of those things on behalf of the clinician. So maybe we can
so much administrative burden in those.
Maybe we can't get you all the way there to perfection, but if I can get you 70% there, I'm saving you a lot of clicks and keystrokes. I'm saving you a lot of time. I'm getting you on therapy sooner. And so total benefits management is a huge opportunity for Dr. First this year. And then, we mentioned earlier, what else can we do to innovate in the e-prescribing space? What else can we do to make it better, easier, more facile, not only for providers, but for patients and pharmacies? And so those are the two big themes for Dr. First in 2025 is total benefits and workflow optimization end to end for e-prescribing.
Yeah, I mean that issue that you mentioned around like infusions that are delivered in a doctor's office has been super complicated for a long time, especially in Medicare, between Medicare Part B and then Part D and whatever else other programs and benefits you have wrapped into some other kind of Part C or whatever else it is. And so also a problem for people actually being able to afford their care, because there are all kinds of different and separate rules around copays and deductibles and whatever.
Impossible.
It's so hard. I wonder why our system is so expensive and confusing. Weird.
And then the patient walks away.
And the patient walks away.
A quarter of all new prescriptions go unfilled. So
last question. Are PBMs as bad as everyone says?
Oh.
You just give them an easy last question. Super chill, super easy.
I don't know. I certainly think there are good PBMs out there. I think there is an administrative need that is being filled there. It is interesting to watch the legislation and the public backlash play out. And so I don't think it's fair to lump them all together and to make these sweeping generalizations that, this is an evil sector of healthcare. I do think there is room for reform. I do think there is room for improvement, but you could say that about any sector of healthcare. But what is very interesting is that the increased scrutiny and the lens that is being placed on it is certainly going to spur change, probably a lot quicker than we had expected. And that is something to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you for I mean, you can come on anytime. We like Grace, so if you want to come back on, she just has to tell us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Hey, thanks. All right, we got another guest coming on here. We got another medical doctor, as far as I understand. You're gonna have to get real close. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Hey.
Sit right there. We have one
Kat,
mic.
Lisa, well, this is a budget operation. Not sure if Aaron told you, so we have one mic, and sometimes it doesn't work. So, So we have Dr. Tim Church from Wonder. and he's going to tell us some stuff. So introduce yourself.
I'm Tim Church, Chief Medical Officer Wonder.
That's it.
I didn't know.
That's great.
No, not much.
Do you still practice clinically?
I never did.
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, no, it's not totally true. I used to run massive research trials.
Okay.
So I would see patients who came in and patients who came out. Most of those trials related to weight loss. So yeah, I've been in this space before it was cool.
So tell us about Wonder.
Wonder, well, I love it. It's, it's to me, it's the perfect job. We get to help lots and lots of people on something that is deeply personal to them, generally weight loss. Weight loss is the door to start the conversation. But once we get in that door, we're going to talk about sleep. We're going to talk about stress. We're going to talk about resilience. We're going to talk about anxiety, the things that really matter. Because at the end of the day, those are what drive your decision around eating and your weight and moving. So I jokingly love to say we are the weight loss we are a mental health program that masquerades as a weight loss program.
Nice.
Whoa.
I feel like you might have something to talk about.
I mean, okay, so
Your
this is
favorite topic.
listen. I get kind of stressed out. We talk to a lot of medication only weight loss solutions. It sounds like you are not that.
No, clinicians need a spectrum of options, from hardcore behavior, not even call hardcore, from entry level behavior to more intensive behavior to meal replacement to medications to surgery. Okay, I say this, and I'm not kidding when I say I don't think there's any more complicated medical condition than weight. We are designed
and stuff
to
like
eat.
that. Yeah,
We evolved to eat.
Better
The
eat.
people who didn't eat,
Yeah.
their genes didn't get passed on.
Right.
So we have all of these redundant systems for eating, and we eat for all kinds. We eat to celebrate. We eat because we're in Vegas. We eat because we're sad. We eat because we're happy. We eat because we're hungry. We eat because we just ran a lot. So
I
all
eat
these
for all
things
those
come in.
reasons,
Yeah,
yes.
amen. And so when you create a program, you need to address all those things, and you need to figure out what individuals need, and then you need to assign the right treatment to that. So there's a place for medications. Medications are going to fail horribly if they don't have a behavioral support program to go with them because of all those things I listed. We put so much on our weight. When I lose this weight, my doctor is going to respect me. When I lose this weight, I'm going to get a job promotion. Those are two extremely loaded questions, and I just threw two out there. So there's a lot we put on our weight. When people lose lots of weight, you have to be there as their Sherpa, or really bad things happen. Hence the depression that goes with big weight loss. Hence the self-harm that goes with big weight loss. So yes, I support medications very much so. I actually helped develop a lot of them. But you need a behavioral program that goes with them.
Well, I think there's obviously a dramatic difference between the medication support that existed 30 plus years ago, 20, 30 years ago, and what exists today. We're still in the early days in the last, I don't know, decade, 15 years of a new class of drugs that is pretty transformational because it operates in a different way. It's not just basically speeding you up so you don't eat. It's something that's really looking at, which is what a lot of the very older class of weight loss drugs were. This is something that's really looking at the complex hormones and complex triggers in a different way. So we don't agree on that necessarily. Kat is not as much of a fan of GLP-1s. I'm interested. At the same time, people have been able to regain. People have been able to regain weight on surgery, on all four. So there is more going on, which I
We're going to
support.
tie all this together.
Yeah.
You just threw me a big old
Do it.
softball. And now
Here we are. That's what we're here for. Softballs. Literally, no one has ever said that to us, so I'm ready.
All is going.
Oh my God.
This has so a brilliant study done in Australia. I was an absolute. This is all about willpower person.
Oh wow.
And one of the things that changed
I've
my
never been that
way
way.
of thinking. It changed my way of thinking. Two things changed my way of thinking. One is when I worked with a bunch of people.
Okay.
And I learned one of them. But this is the big one. Remember, when I went to med school with the dinosaurs, we didn't have the gut hormones. We didn't have the amylins.
Speed to make you not
Yeah, that's not totally fair, but kind of.
I mean,
That's kind of. But
We're not a real media outlet,
This
just
isn't a
in
real
case
media
no one told you that.
that's fair.
not a scientist
But we've come to learn that you're in pretty much everything in here, whether it's your liver or your spleen or your intestines, produce these hormones called incretins or nutrient sensory hormones, and they go and they talk to your brain. That's what GLP-1 is. This brilliant study done in Australia. They helped these people lose a lot of weight behaviorally. And then they watched them for a year and they did challenge meals every 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And they would measure their gut hormones before the meal to test essentially their physiological hunger.
Yeah.
And then they would test their gut hormones 2 hours after the meal. And after they lost this weight over time, every challenge meal, all the hormones that made you more hungry go up. all the more all the hormones that hold off your appetite, they went down. So the body essentially self-sabotages against the long-term success of keeping weight off. We know
If I eat
behaviorally.
that like pile of donuts, then I'm like, well, it's time to eat more donuts.
Well, that's a double whammy.
There's a donut place
Yeah.
over there. We could
Yes,
go there right now.
yeah,
We
yeah.
could, with your own
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah, but you bring in donut, it also brings in the emotional aspects.
Sure,
of it. But
sure,
yeah,
sure.
just a dinner. You're
A
gonna eat.
meal.
And what's so scary here is it's 3 extra bites. That's what sabotages you. It's not like they said, "Oh, I'm gonna get 5 more plates." It's not how it works. It's like 100 extra calories.
Wow.
But that to me was like, oh my gosh, the only people who lose a lot of weight and keep it off for a long, they're exercising an hour to an hour and a half a day. I love to work out. I don't work out 90 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Nah,
Me neither.
not on this.
Me.
For sure. But all that speaks to the importance for big weight loss. Your body doesn't want to sustain it. So when these companies get up there and say, we're going to get you off in 9 months, get you off the weight loss medications in 9 months, we're going to get you off, they're lying. It's wrong.
Yeah.
The science doesn't support this. The science didn't start 3 years ago when the first GLP-1 came to market.
Of course.
There's decades and decades and decades of science behind this. So did I convince you at all that maybe GLP-1s are a good option?
No, here's the thing. This is like what we say about Medicare Advantage too. Everybody thinks we hate me, especially hates Medicare Advantage. I hate the marketing activities, the marketing behaviors of the GLP-1 industry. I
To be
think
clear, I agree with you on that.
yeah, like
wholeheartedly.
I think that people who need these drugs should be on these drugs. Totally, 100%. I think there are a lot of people who are getting pushed in this way who don't need them. There are lots of the pill mill type situations going on. And we actually got in a fight with, I got in a fight with someone yesterday about, obviously, no. I mean, it was a fight. It just wasn't like a unfriendly fight. It was a friendly fight. It was a friendly fight, but about like, I do a lot of work in the opioid epidemic. So the playbook is very similar, right? It's like, let's change what is a disease, and like we see all these like billboards now, like, oh, come to our little pharmacy on the interstate and come get your whatever, I do not like that. I think that sucks. And I think that's wrong. And I think we're going to see bad stuff come out of it.
I couldn't agree more.
Look at that. That's what I'm talking about.
Because we're living the fin era over and over again.
Yeah.
Speed.
We've driven, we've driven so much of normal weight loss treatment underground. And my big question is, are we ever going to pull it out?
Yeah.
Because there's already so much money in that dreaded compounding world.
Right.
Are we ever going to legitimize this
Compounding.
anytime soon? And I'm a little bit afraid that it's going to be years and years and years before it gets normalized. Could you imagine talking about this if we were talking about hypertension or diabetes?
Yeah. No, I mean,
someone talked about drug holidays yesterday. I'm like, oh, so would you put a hypertensive on a drug holiday? Are you going to take responsibility for that stroke, or type 2 diabetes? Would you put them on a drug holiday? But why do we, when it comes to weight, we're like, nah, you're going to suck it up and we're going to put you on a drug holiday and everything's going to be good. It's an example of weight bias.
Yeah. Interesting.
we're gonna get the hook really soon. So we
Yeah,
might
this
wanna,
is, we, yeah.
Give us your
Okay,
your
well,
final health
Well,
thoughts.
yeah. Tell us your feelings in general about everything.
I'm hopeful.
Hopeful.
I'm hopeful.
Hopeful guy.
You know what? There's a lot of Americans that need behavioral support, that need medication support, need surgery support. Despite the crazy things, you mentioned some of them, I think in general, the field's moving forward. I think we're moving a lot, helping a lot of people. We help 250,000 people a year. I mean, that makes me so happy that we've helped people better be able to go watch their grandkids play soccer. That we've helped people go duck hunt, when they couldn't have made it out
Duck
to the duck
hunting.
hunt before. Whatever, get into your deer stand. I don't know,
Yep.
wherever you live. And I am actually hopeful.
Yeah. Compounding pharmacies, good or bad?
All right.
Interesting.
Interesting. And with that, we are getting kicked out. Thanks for coming to our live show.